Alright, so this is my Peerless 820 that I am using for that mower project. Um, so these days might be a clue as to what I did here. So this is a weldless locker. Um, I may put some tack welds here and here, but right now they're Loctited. And I might call it the Loctite locker, something like that. I don't know. But if you notice, what I have done is just drilled and tapped the side plate. And when you buy those 1 inch axle kits to put a 1 inch axle through these things, one of the major things I don't like is that you can't really find an axle with the keyway that you need. Secondly, these are hardened steel shafts with like a plating on the outside that really are stronger than your average, you know, uh, flex proof go kart axle with the keys going all the way down it. And the key is not the problem. The problem is that this is a better steel. Um, that's why I like the 3/4 axle shafts in the peerless transmissions. They are stronger than you think they would be because they're hardened steel shafts. Um, and they have the chrome plating on them for the bushings. I mean this has needle bearings and a regular bearing here, but I don't like I'm not a fan of putting the bronze bushing in there, and I'm really not a fan of how thin this becomes when you bore it out to 1 inch, because that's 7/8 there. When you bore that out to 1 inch, this becomes really thin here, and um, I just think it's a bad spot for a key. I've seen people put like a hub on the inside with a key, and then they engage this where the spider gears. That's great. It's probably the best way to do it. I'm going to uh, do it on this side too. You probably could get away with. Honestly, I think you could probably get away with just one of these. It's a 1/4 inch grade 10 bolt. Um, Two of them, I'm sure. Just on this one, the axle's already locked up, and it feels solid. Um, the other thing is, I might throw a tack or something on this C clip just so that I know it's not going to come out. But I know these are good. I've I've run transaxles before without lockers, and with big tires. I've never had a C clip pop out. I've used Spicer transaxles and stuff. This one's gonna have a girdle like skid plate on the bottom. Uh, the the rear end is probably gonna mount to this like sub chassis thing under the tractor, like that, and then I'll have two leaf springs from that sled over there in the front of that sled and shocks, and that'll be in the rear of the tractor, and this whole thing will be under the tractor, and then it will have maybe a rubber bushing in the front that it pivots on, because it's going to be such a long thing. It's going to go all the way to the front of the mower. It's going to be such a long thing. Probably it's going to pivot right under where the motor shaft is, so that the whole belt goes just slightly, because we're gonna have like 4 inches of travel, maybe less, probably much less than that. That'll be like from all the way drooped to all the way bumped. From full droop to full bump, it'll be 4 inches. So when you're riding it, you'll have 2 inches of travel. But I'm thinking about limiting the articulation, but we'll see. We'll see. Most of the tractors I've made with suspension in the past had very little articulation, and it works good because you're so top heavy. You want sway bars on something like this. You don't want a lot of articulation, even if you're rock crawling the thing. You want to be able to predict where the thing's gonna go, whether it's the front or the rear that's stiff, like side to side. You want it. You can have articulation in the front that's great, but in the rear you want a sway bar to hold you up, so you're not tilting one way or the other. Um, but I do believe this is going to work. I've seen people do full suspension on mowers before with a belt drive to the transaxle. It's going to have um, those tires in the rear, 22, 10, 12, the 12-inch rim. Um, pretty pretty aggressive little tire, nothing crazy, but it'll definitely make it look badass. It's a much smaller tire than the stock ones. Um, well, it looks much smaller. The other ones I think say 22, but they are definitely taller. And then these are going to be the fronts. Let's see. Yeah, these will be the fronts, and those 22s will be the rears. These bead locks are cool as hell. Um, I'd love to get another set of like fake bead locks for the rear or something just to get the look. I might make something. Um, so I have this snowmobile. Obviously, I'm not going to use this to power the mower, but I could. I have a right angle gearbox. It would be cool to see what this thing would do to a peerless 820 because it's a 350. It's not that much. It doesn't have that much power. It's a 1978, I think, 350 Polaris. Um, it's got really good compression. It runs good. But I also have what I'm going to most likely use is this guy here. This 22 horse V twin. It's a good runner, strong. And then the motor that's on the tractor is really good too. It's a opposed twin. So we'll see. We'll see. The opposed twins are just so damn heavy and lazy. They sound cool. They look cool. They sound really cool, but they're lazy motors, especially for their weight. It's a 19 horsepower opposed twin. It does not appear to be a pressure lubed twin. I don't remember if the ones with the oil pumps have oil filters. I don't know. I think they do. I think that would be. I think this one's a 40 cubic inch, and then the 42s, the 42 cubic inch would have a oil pump in it. I don't think that one does. So I'm going to use this Ford hood. So something like that is what it's going to look like. Obviously with the cooler tires and some rock sliders on the side. And that's how much the frame's extended right now. As of right now, I could extend this frame and just leave those brackets where they have them. What I did, I made a mower with fake rear suspension one time, and I had this guy pivot. The whole rear fender thing pivoted, and it would bolt on right there and pivot right there. Like the whole back seat fender thing would pivot. But yeah, this is my weldless 820 locker, and I do believe it's gonna work nice. You gotta imagine. There are guys, you got 3/16s or quarter-inch keyways. I'm gonna have 4 quarter-inch bolts holding those gears from spinning, and the only thing the spider gears are gonna be doing is transferring the power. They're not gonna be welded. Although I could weld the spider gears too, just as an added level. But I'm trying to do this weld free, just to say it's a weldless locker, because I think it's gonna work really good. Um, this transmission has a 12-to-1 ratio in 5th gear, which is not too bad. The last 820 I had was something like 15-to-1 in the high gear, which I don't know. I don't know if that's something that was changed. I don't know. I have no idea. But this thing's gonna be sick. I'm gonna keep it basic, but it is gonna have full suspension. Just want it to look as much like a tractor as possible. Because like I could lower the seat all the way to the frame and like have the fenders mounted to the seat or something, and have it really low. And I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens with those tires once I put those tires. You know what? Let me try that. All right. Well, now that I have the the smaller wheels on, it kind of looks goofy being this long. I don't know, maybe I'll reel in the extension a little bit. I don't know, maybe it does look good. It's kind of badass. We need room for suspension travel, but that won't be a problem. That's about how much travel it's going to have. It's not going to be much in the rear. The front's going to have some articulation. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with the front suspension yet. I have a couple ideas. I would like to be able to use, I don't know, maybe I'll use the leafs in the front. I might just use the leaf springs in the front and then use just a single spring in the rear because I have something like that. I don't want much articulation on the rear anyway. But yeah, I think that this is going to work out really nicely. I think the other thing I'm going to do is, I don't know how well I can show this right now. Yeah, not at all. That steering box there, the way that this arm comes down from the top of the thing, I'm going to have the steering box on 1-inch bushings or bearings and have like a shaft come through the bottom because I like this steering box design. It can work well, but as it is, it's bad because it doesn't have enough support, but it can work really well with the right support. And if the link was coming out the bottom, it would be lined up with the bottom. I have a drag link down at the bottom instead of the top because this whole setup just has way too much play in it, even brand new. But quick update on the truck. It's still holding up really well. I did a whole bunch of chassis repairs and bed rails. A few years back, I did, all scrap metal stuff. Nothing. I don't think I spent a single dollar on the patchwork and cross members and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a solid truck, except for this broken leaf spring. But I got a new leaf spring. I'm just too lazy to put it in. And once I hose clip the thing, it stopped moving. So the that trailer over there is going to be scrapped, and it's got good hubs. So the mower probably is going to end up with those spindles and hubs and stuff in the front. Weld them onto something beefy in the front. We'll see what that sled has for rear suspension. The drive cogs are all broken on that snowmobile. The drive system is seized up pretty good. I'm sure I could fix that, but the plastic drive cogs and the whole track is fucked. So I'm just gonna leave it. Rob steering parts off of it for other stuff.